How lovely. There's so many of you.
And there should be some more, hopefully.
Wow.
I still can't see him.
אני מקליטה את שניכם ורואים את שניכם על המסך, אז זה בסדר. את תלכי
תסגרי את טל. רגע, אולי אני צריכה לסגור את טל.
Judy, you've been busy.
Okay, yeah. I've pinned you. Now I can see you.
Oh,
it's so lovely to see you. It's really...
Yeah, I haven't seen you for ages, so it's so nice to see you. And look, you've been busy. What have you been doing?
What have I been doing? Well, in the last year, we've been... I invited Tal and Smadar to start working together because I saw that they were very busy on social media. And I'm not very good at social media, so we joined forces. And since then, this community has been growing. And so we've been having weekly meetings, like kind of Jinky of the week, the Pulse, and all kinds of things, all kinds of readings and workshops. And there's been a lot of pressure to finally publish the book, which has been ready for years. And we're getting there. And our editor is actually with us, Anat. And she's an amazing woman, and I think it will be beautiful.
Wow, amazing! What a great story. You've been dormant for some years, and then suddenly it explodes.
Yeah. So how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Do you want me to leave gaps after I speak so that you can translate?
I don't think so. Smadar is actually translating in the chat, and okay. I think we'll probably translate the recording afterwards. So.
Okay, are you sure? Because I don't mind.
I think so. I don't think anybody's going to do simultaneous translation at the moment.
Okay. Okay.
So,
yeah. Well, that's fantastic. I have to take it all in with all of you and look at all your faces.
So whenever you're ready, and if you'd like to give us a short attunement, that would be wonderful.
Absolutely. Let's do one. So. You can just bring your hands in front of your here like this, in front of your heart. And just allow your breath to come down into your belly, down the center line of your being. And then allow your awareness to settle in your belly, in the core of your belly. And it's here deep in the belly, in the solar plexus, there's an egg ready to hatch all over this planet. And it's the egg of the future human. So I return to this center very, very often. To take care of the egg, the embryo. And we, working with the gene keys and this community, we're incubating this egg together. All over the world, in different countries and cultures. And there's a great future being waiting to come out of this egg. So feel the quality of your soul here deep in the belly. And you can ask yourself the question, what contribution can I make to this future consciousness? And what essence will I contribute to the soul of humanity? And you put that question into the egg and keep it warm. And you don't have to answer this question in words. But you might feel how this question connects us all together. And it helps us to build bridges between each other and to celebrate our differences. And to open to universal love. That is our true nature. So blessings to you all, and thank you for inviting me to be here. I can't hear you, Judy.
Sorry. So thank you, that was really lovely. So we sent out a message to everyone and asked them what they'd like to ask you if they happen to meet you. And we put together a list of questions that more or less cover what people wanted to hear. So I will read you the questions and okay. The Gene Key book is a marvelous synthesis of ancient and modern spiritual knowledge, mysticism, and more. Can you tell us how you created this amazing mix? Is it based on your knowledge, your personal experience, the transmission, or anything else? So.
Yeah, thank you. Well, you probably have heard the story, most of you, and of my receiving of this transmission over 3 days and 3 nights, and back in my 20s, but not understanding what it was really. And so the work after receiving it, it's a bit like the egg I just described. Given an egg, and then how do I hatch this egg? How do I look after it? And it took me many years to understand what form it would take. And so a lot of traveling, a lot of exploring, a lot of questioning and inside me, and all of those things, the things I've learned, my intellect, my emotional journey, my physical journey in the body, all of that, my travels around the world. I did many travels around the world in my younger years, and all of that came together to form the book, but guided by this transmission. And I didn't write the book in any order, just wrote in a random, intuitive way and allowed the text to form itself. So I had the feeling that I was being asked to step out of the way when I was writing it, and more than any of my other books. And so I think that that's what I tried to do. And it has its own quality. But when I finished the book, which took me maybe 7 years, I think, the last full stop when I finished it, I said, I'm finished now. I had the feeling in me of, I've done it justice. It was a feeling in me. I've done justice to what happened in those 3 days. And it's a start. You know, that was my feeling. I've made a good start. And I think that in a way is an answer to your question, that the Gene Keys book is a good start into a whole world that then continues to open up. I hope it's a good start for people. For some people, it's too much, I think. For others, it's a nice beginning. And then I wrote this other book, you know, this one, Contemplation, The Art of Contemplation, and very thin. I don't know if some of you have read it, but inside this book, I think I distilled the transmission right down to like a tiny atom that was more practical for people. But the two books go together, actually. The big book and then the little tiny book, they go together. They fit well together. So, yes, is that okay as an answer? Can I add some more?
I think that's wonderful, unless anyone wants to ask something.
Yeah, feel free.
I think the book is a beginning, but it's endless. I think for me, when I read it, I said, I don't have to search anymore. It's all here. Endless treasure chest.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's funny for me because I don't read the book, but I keep reading the transmission. So I'm exploring the same place where the book came from, and exploring different aspects of the transmission. And I'm writing another book now. Probably my last big book, and it's all the lines of the I Ching, 384, with names and commentaries and poetry, sutras, and yeah, it's mysterious, but I think quite beautiful. Yeah.
Amazing. Looking forward to that.
Yeah, I think it will take some years. It's a big work. I can only do one. Like right now, I'm just beginning with the names of the lines, and the poet and the sutras, the poems that come from them, 4-line poems, and they're kind of little wisdom poems. But then I have to write all the rest of all the commentaries, and it's coming from here, not from any knowledge of the I Ching, you know. So anyway, there are, you know, that's another part of the same book. It will be even harder to translate.
Well, so we have some years to get ready.
But not as many words.
Okay. Okay, so should we go on to the next one?
Yeah.
Besides contemplation and reading the book, can you recommend any additional ways of deepening the connection to the gift and Siddhic frequencies?
Well, as you know, that after having written the book, and I went on to then create these programs, Golden Path program, the Golden Path books, And now I'm calling these, because it's the age of algorithms, I'm calling these the algorithms of awakening. And the activation sequence, and then the Venus sequence, and the Pearl, and this these algorithms and the profile, when we work with them, they're the best way of raising our frequency, because they are designed, they match us perfectly. So they're designed to help us awaken. And just as the activation sequence is designed to help us awaken our genius and our purpose, and then the Venus sequence, deeper work, as you know, many of you, and Judy, I'm sure you know some of this deeply. The algorithm of love, the algorithms of love specific to you, and the wounding around love, and the trauma that we carry, the karma around love. And so opening up that heart through those sequences and that program, those books, really helps us to attain those higher frequencies, because there's no more specific work precise to you. It's like having a master who knows you and just saying, go this way, a little bit left, now take the right path. And he knows, or she knows, exactly each step for you. That's what those algorithms are, those profiles. And so they really help us on the journey, and they're step by step. So we can go back over the steps, and we can take our time. Some of us move quickly, and then some of us move more slowly, and we have our own rhythm of working and our own way of working with that material. Sometimes it's logical, sometimes it's more intuitive and physical. So yeah, I would say that is the primary route of tuning in to those higher gifts and cities, because you're working into the shadows, and you're helping release your own shadows through your life, through your working life, through the Pearl, through your relationship to money, for example, your relationship to others and the community, and through your relationships with your friends, your lovers, your family, your wife, through the Venus sequence, and through your relationship to yourself in the activation sequence. It covers everything. So I really recommend deep study and work with those programs. And also there are techniques, but there are many techniques also, for instance, the Kabbalah, or the many techniques of all the different teachers and teachings from around the world, and they're all wonderful, or we just have to find the ones that fit well for us. So you can take whatever techniques you need that work well for you. Like in Gene Keys, one part of the transmission called the 7 Sacred Seals is like one of the mystery school areas of the Gene Keys, and it involves more connecting with the higher frequencies. So it's less working with the shadow, and it's more working to draw in the higher frequencies and bring them down, and then they meet the shadow. And so that's another approach. It's a different approach, a devotional approach, a heart-based approach. And there are other ones as well. Like the one I'm working on now for this year is called the Dream Arc, and it's a right brain approach, intuition, imagination, play. It's another way of awakening, of healing our heart, of opening up freedom inside us, and finding those high frequencies. So yeah, lots of ways. They really are.
They really are extraordinary and life-changing.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so we're now going on to other subjects. Many members of the community would like to hear your view of our current world situation, the COVID crisis, all the difficulties that are cropped up around it. It's part in the great change, and what are the best ways to support ourselves and others during this time? Big question.
Yeah, these are great questions. I think every culture and place has its challenge with this pandemic, and its challenge with its leaders, and its challenge with everything. And each of us, of course, has to find our unique truth, you know, and resonance inside our hearts, inside our soul. Like, what is my truth? Whether I choose to have a vaccine, whether I don't choose to have a vaccine, whether I choose to believe whichever narrative I am drawn to believe, or I feel resonance with. And so, yes, it throws up everything, and it is part of the great change. It's perhaps an early part of the great change, one of many layers or veils that has to be removed for us to see our true nature better as a collective. And the internet obviously begins that process of awakening to the great change. And then the pandemic also is another layer, and more layers are going to be coming for sure. Because in order for us to kind of go through this change, this gene key 55, in order for this to truly awaken, this egg, in order for it to hatch out, there has to be some kind of trauma, because the egg has to break, and it has to break, and then the dragon has to emerge, the dragonfly, you know, the new creature, the new species has to emerge from inside us. And it's easy to be caught in the outside storyline and trapped by that storyline and its dramas. And it's one of the great challenges of a spiritual path to stay stable inside oneself, to anchor in the body and in our knowing, and to let times like this make us stronger, you know, and bring us closer together. In fact, I think that's the key of all of this, that it can, you know, for us, you know, we need to be building communities and bridges more in this time, especially Israeli community, just really building the bonds strong, and to create these, you know, these communities of, you know, acceptance, of love, that can practice allowing different views to exist together without it needing to dissolve into an argument always. How can we sit with different views and accept them? That's a beautiful spiritual challenge for the collective, and the collective has to experience its inability to do that as well, how challenging it is for many of us. But if we're on a spiritual path, as we all are here, then that is an amazing challenge, you know, that we have to meet. Like, how can I let go of my opinions? How can I transcend the traumas of my shadows and my victim patterns? And collectively, how can we build this? How can we? This is the teaching of the Pearl. How the different genius comes together, you know, to build what's needed for the future. And no one can say what's needed other than the collective itself, you know, the heart. So the more we do the heart work in the Venus sequence, for example, then the more those hearts find each other, and the intelligence of those hearts coming together knows what to do, and knows where to be, and knows when to do it and how to do it. but unless we have those hearts open and resonant, working with each other, we don't know what to do. We have no idea what to do. And whatever we try, it's not going to work for us because it hasn't come from that place of, harmony. So, yeah, it's part of the rolling out of the great change. And also, I think the other important view that I find comforting, and it gives perspective, is to look beyond one lifetime, and to, it's a habit of humans to only look at, in modern humans, to only look in their own lifetime. And if we can look beyond our own lifetime and realize that we are returning and then returning and returning, then there isn't so much pressure on us to do everything in one life. I must attain enlightenment in this life. Instead, we can be of service because we can relax. Even in crisis, we can be more relaxed. And then we can be of true service to the people around us. So I don't know if that answers some of the question.
That was wonderful. I mean, really true words of wisdom. Thank you. That's really beautiful. And so refreshing to hear in this.
Yeah, we have to, I was saying, we have to build bridges, not bunkers.
Yeah, wonderful. So we started talking about Israel, and we're going to continue talking about Israel, start making it personal. And the question is, how do the gene keys in the Jewish Kabbalah connect? And can you give us an example?
Yeah, I am. Sometimes it's interesting to look at different systems and where they overlap. And it's also, there's a warning, I think, like trying to perfectly map two different systems from different time periods and from different cultures is not always advisable. So, different aspects of the same transmission come at different time periods and for different cultures or into different cultures. And if it's universal wisdom, like the Kabbalah, it's universal to everyone, then it came of its age, and it's growing and it continues to grow and still has many, many applications and truths for today. And yet Gene Keys is very new, and in one sense and has emerged today, in a different climate. And so you can see where they have a similar, you can see it like it's very obvious. And yet you have to kind of realize they're different dimensions to each other. So you can look and you can see, for example, like in the profile, the sphere of attraction may remind you, or it may have an echo of, I don't know how you pronounce Yesod.
That's correct.
Is that right? So you can see there are echoes, between the places, but the practical use of the wisdom is completely different. So it's not about attaining, it's not about attaining the top, or so you can't exactly apply it in the same way. So Keter at the top is not the same as the life's work, but you can again see there's an echo perhaps of something in there. So I would just use caution trying to make things fit together when they're from different epochs. But I also think it's lovely to see correspondences. And I think it would be interesting, or as not being an expert in Kabbalah at all, but it would be interesting for Kabbalists and people deeply versed in the Kabbalah to draw some of those parallels and explore how they might be used in parallel, but maybe not put together, just in parallel. And then you have this, really powerful systems working together. The place perhaps where they overlap the most is through the codon rings. 22 codon rings, the 21, and this connects to the, the Kabbalah and your alphabet. So I think that would be very interesting when that wisdom comes out, to see, how that connects with the tarot system and how it connects with the pathways in the Kabbalah and the tree of life. And I think there might be some interesting, very inspiring connections that are made when that happens. But I'm not quite ready to do the codon rings yet. And I think it's a couple of years away from me sharing and teaching them, because they're a very profound aspect. They're one of the deepest aspects of the whole wisdom, and I'm not ready yet. It's not ready.
Yeah, sure. Well, I'm sure it will come, and maybe there's a challenge here for people who are into Kabbalah, or maybe some people take the challenge. Yeah,
I think look at the parallels and explore them, and I think that's a really interesting thing to do.
Yep, sounds like it. Thank you. And we're nearly at the last one. You mentioned there being a gene key for each country. So I'd love to know what Israel's gene key is and what we can learn from it regarding the energy and spiritual development of our country.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't done all the keys for the countries, but I love the question. And I also want to be respectful. So the way that I did it with Romania and Bulgaria is that I shared my intuition, and then I said, but you have to verify it. So please take it away and verify it. And it may be that in verifying it, you come and you say, well, I think it might, we all feel it's another one. And I would give credence to that more than my intuition, because it's in your blood. But my intuition is that Israel is gene key 6. And I can't tell you why, but because it's just a feeling. I only have my feeling, and when you dig into
say that.
You did? Well, when you dig into the story of that key, you know, maybe then you can find the reason behind things, and some of the stories of the culture. And it's a very, you know, it is connected to Christ and the myth and the story of Christ. It's connected to, you know, the light, the future light body of humanity. It's a linchpin kind of all the keys. It's a very important one because it contains like some transmission, like the Hebrew language contains this incredible secret transmission, and the same with the 6th gene key. It carries like a kind of master code of all of life itself in a way. Yeah, so it is a, you know, I guess your culture is a kind of meeting point of many of the conflicts of the world in some archetypal way. And it's perhaps why such incredible, you know, esoteric mystic knowledge is stored, you know, in your people and in your land and in your language and in your culture and in your you know, yeah, in your teachings, traditional teachings.
There is great depth there.
But I'd love to hear from you, like how that lands, and give you, you know, I think you should explore it together and go on a journey, and then let me know where it goes for you.
Okay, that's another challenge for us.
Yeah, I mean, you have the city of peace. It's pretty important. And also I'd say that there may, you know, because there are many countries, there may be another country or even two that have the same, I don't know what it is, but there may be, and that would create also an interesting ally.
Yeah, that would be interesting. It's my radiance as well. So
Is it? Yeah.
I know it pretty well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. That's really interesting. So just our final question, unless we think of something else, is what's your future vision for the Gene Keys?
Yeah. Well, we have a vision from, I came together with a small team of friends last year, and we put together a vision for the business of the Gene Keys, which helps understand the bigger vision of the Gene Keys, because it's the physical form. And we want that, the vision is to make the Gene Keys as available as possible to as many people as possible. And so that means we'd like it to be very affordable. And ultimately, we would like it to be like people to be, it becomes a subscription model that's very affordable. So you can have all the courses for a very small amount of money, and then it doesn't kind of exclude anyone or very few. So that's a physical goal, a material goal, and the other side of that is we're kind of building I likened it to building a cathedral. So you come together and you build a cathedral, and it takes several generations perhaps, or it takes a family and lots of friends to put the cathedral together. And as you're building the cathedral, people are drawn to the cathedral, traders and families, and they come, and a city grows around the cathedral, because it's being built, and friends get made, and people get married and meet their husbands and wives, and then and life goes on, and it grows. And then one day you've put the roof on, and then you've finished, and then so you've finished, and then the builders of the cathedral can go home or do something else. And then the cathedral is just open to everyone. But the city continues to grow, and the community and the travelers and the people come. So the vision of the Gene Keys is that it ignites a creative movement, which is that all the people outside, all the people coming to the cathedral. So it's one thing to build it and to have help and friends and family, and that's like, but that comes to an end at some point. So, my job is to finish with the building, so that I no longer have a job, and that the Gene Keys itself is not growing. The business doesn't need to grow beyond a certain point. It's not going to go on growing. It's not sustainable, because then it just becomes. It's not about any business. It's about the people who come to it, and they bring the creativity. So it's about generating creativity and generating a creative movement and connection, and therefore every person who is interested in the teachings is a co-writer, a co-creator with the teachings. So there's no model of control. There's just quality, I guess, as much quality with the building as possible. And then people may copy the cathedral somewhere else, and they may, and we're not going to try and control that. So the idea is that it grows organically. It continues to grow organically. And I think my feeling is just to create as good quality as I can, and to finish the core of the teaching, so that they can then go on growing long after I've gone, and other people can add their own flavor. Like you were talking about the Kabbalah, there might be a whole Kabbalah Gene Keys school that grows, long after we've all gone, but someone here might start it, and it may grow and grow. And So the vision for the Gene Keys is to, to prepare the world for this change that's coming, and to create these connections, and this to help people who are awakening find each other, find the right people to work with, to be with, like the fractal connections. And the part that I'm most excited about is the cross-cultural exchanges. So Israelis meeting, Bulgarians, and Australians meeting, Romanians, and that kind of weaving together of the different human cultural faces, colors, teachings, and how all that gets brought together by a single impulse, towards freedom and, higher consciousness. I don't know, did I miss anything out, Judy?
I think it's wonderful. I think it's really beautiful and inspiring.
Yeah, so I mean, my joke is that we came out of a business meeting that essentially the purpose of it was to put us out of a job. So we no longer, so we're completely redundant. Not us, all of us, but me and whoever's building the cathedral, and there are people who are invited to, yeah. And in a way you are helping, because you're helping build like the Israeli department, your own cathedral in a way. Yeah. Yeah. But I guess you also have to bear in mind that it will last longer than you. So you have to build the foundations really with quality and care, and love, so that it kind of stands, it stands firm as long as it can.
It's definitely growing and finding its allies, and
yeah.
So
well, I would love to come and visit you. I've never been to Israel, so I would absolutely love to come one day.
Well, you're invited, and I'm sure if you come, we'll find you somewhere to stay and take you around, and
thank you.
Make sure you have a good time.
I would love to come and see you
when this craziness is over, so I hope you will.
Yeah. Thank you.
So we've got one more thing, and just before that, I just wanted to say a special thank you to Marianne, who started out this whole process and created this idea of you coming here. So that was a really wonderful initiative. And we wanted to end our meeting with the sixth gene key, the sixth mudra. If you could take us through the mudra.
Oh yeah, well that's a really easy one, isn't it? If I remember it rightly, because I don't remember all the mudras, it's this one, isn't it? Yeah. So the right hand sits here on the upper heart, and then the left palm over, and it's a really beautiful, easy mudra. It's very sweet, and it's just about the heart. It's the heart of peace. So it's about just, I don't know if you know the incantation of solace. Has anyone translated that into Hebrew? Yeah. So that this is part of like, may which part is it? Yeah, may solace abound in our hearts. May solace abound in our hearts. Yeah, it's beautiful. So it's about that, whatever words you wish to speak. So this is the mudra, of self-love. And if a whole community does this, it's hugging itself. Everyone is loving themselves before the final part, where may all beings, be included in that. So yeah, it says a lot, I guess, about what you are to kind of provide at a siddhi frequency for humanity is an example of self-love. Yeah, so maybe we can just sit for a little while, just holding that love, feeling the energy and the vibration of that love on behalf of the whole of humanity. And that peace. So when you meet, this would be a wonderful mudra to do at the beginning and the end of whenever you meet, and to teach it to others because it's so simple. And it's the quality of touching oneself with peace.
Yeah.
It's, this is different because this is like the universal, this is a greeting. But this is like a greeting to oneself. Yeah, so it's really powerful and beautiful.
Lovely, a new angle on that one. So we've finished the questions. It was lovely to have you and see you. And
I'm open if anyone else has any more. I've got 10 minutes still.
Maybe a short message for the community or whatever comes to you. I would love to hear that.
Thanks, Maya. And thank you for being one of the foundation stones. I think just, what I said earlier, like whatever you care to build together, build it with care and with patience, and make sure that the first foundations are placed with real clarity and love, and then if the first blocks are solid, then everything above is solid. And so build bridges between each other, work together as much as you can, accept each other's differences and opinions and views, and I want to have the vaccine, I don't want to have the vaccine, it's okay. Everyone is allowed to have their view. and at whatever level, and to celebrate that if as much as possible, so that the conflicts can be dissolved at and perhaps even laughed at sometimes. I think if you can have laughter and if you can have joy, then whatever you build will be really strong and powerful. Yeah, and it's funny. I mean, it's great because you've had some time and you've built. Obviously, you're building a community, and I think that's a fantastic thing. I guess what I'd say is, when you have the book in Hebrew and you have some, I'll come. It's like, you're already. I'm already wanting to come. So many of you. I would love to come. But,
I really hope that will happen before the end of the year.
Yeah, I think that would be amazing.
Yeah, amazing for us as well if you came.
Yeah,
really wonderful.
Yeah, does anyone have anything else they'd like to ask me while I'm here?
Yeah, I want to say something. Hi, Richard.
Hi.
In 2 days, where the sun is going into the 41st Jinki gate, whatever, and the new sun cycle is starting for all of us. And would you feel like saying a few words about that, about the 41 and starting the new year?
Yeah.
It's kind of like a celebration for that. I feel it happened this way 2 days before.
Yeah. it's strange, isn't it? Because we have our calendar new year, and then there's this big pause while everyone's waiting for kind of the spring energy to kick in, and or at least in the northern hemisphere. And it's like at the moment we're still in the pause until that sun hits the 41, and then suddenly there's a kind of that's a cause for celebration. It's a lovely thing to come together for that. If there are many of you who are like on the app Clubhouse, I don't know if many of you have discovered that app yet, social media app. I recommend it. And if Mayan, have you tried that?
Amit is very strong with this. I came into the parenting once, but
yeah. Well, Amit, maybe you can show these guys, because it's a really nice place to, you know, if you're confident, if your English is okay, and it's a nice place to meet and come together. We're doing a 41st Gene Key session next week, I guess. Well, when is it? Soon. And I'm on there every Friday. I would love to invite you guys. It's very easy if you can just get it on your phone. And I run the City Club, which is, sorry? Did someone say something? Anyway, I run a City Club where we focus on the cities and the higher frequencies every Friday at 6 o'clock in UK time. So it should be okay for you. And yeah, it's a lovely place to meet. You know, it's like where you can share and you can listen, and I can meet you as well, which is really nice for me, because otherwise I love to meet you here, but it's nice to get that quality of connection between all of us. So please feel invited if you can get your head around the technology, which isn't difficult. Yeah, it's the only social media app that I'm in the least bit interested in. I've ever been like interested in using, because it's only audio, so it's quite pure in that way. Yeah, but the 41st Gene Key, you should have a party.
Can I ask something, please?
Please.
Hello. If you can give us only one tip for work with the Gene Key, what you will give us? Only one.
Yeah. Well, mine is always gentleness. It comes with patience. It's one tip that's two: gentleness and patience. Gentleness towards yourself, you know, patience with others. Yeah, gentleness towards yourself. We are very hard on ourselves, us humans, and the habit, breaking that habit, you know, is such a powerful thing, to be gentle with yourself, and allow things to take their own timing, you know, so that you don't. Part of gentleness is that you don't push yourself, so that, you know, you're putting yourself under huge pressure, big expectations, big demands on yourself. Sometimes that's okay, but also it takes a big toll from, you know, from our health and our, you know, vitality, and just this, you know, this peace. If we want to be at peace, then we need to know how to be gentle with ourselves. And then out of that comes everything else. Out of gentleness often comes firm boundaries, you know, for others. So something that starts gentle can end up being quite powerful. It's not about, you know, if you're gentle towards yourself, then you're not a pushover for others, because you're much clearer about what you need for yourself. So it's a really, you know, it's a really powerful, empowering thing. That's what I'd say as my desert island gift that I would take with me. Anything else?
nobody else. Just want to thank you again. It was a real gift to be with you this evening, and thank you for your time. And you've given us such a lot to contemplate.
Good. Well, I hope you keep meeting, and let's, stay in touch. And if there's anything I can do to support you guys, please say, And I have I'm part of an amazing team, as you probably know, some of you, and we're really here to support you. So, through the language MLM hub, you'll know Elitza, right? If you need to get a message to, obviously you can talk to me directly, but if there's things you need, or that you need assistance or help or support, that is an amazing group of people, that hub. We had a meeting recently this last week, and I think some of you were there.
That was very
one of you was there.
Smada.
Yeah, hi Smada. Yeah, I see you. Nice to see you again. And those are great meetings, and are really, we're figuring out how to support each other. Yeah.
Great. Yeah, that's really wonderful.
Yeah. Well, thank you all so much for inviting me. And I look forward to when I come to your beautiful country, and I can then experience the 6 gene key for myself in its purity, through feeling it in your hearts. Yeah. And maybe the conflict as well sometimes. We have to allow for everything.
That's all part of it, isn't it?
Yeah.
The trigger.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you, and a big hug from all of us.
Yeah, thank you. And
lots
to
of love.
from me. Yeah. Lots of love to all of you. If you want to unmute and just say something, I think it's a good time. If you want to take your mute button off and
תודה רבה.
Yeah, we love you, Richard. Just so you know.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We love you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank you
much
for being born.
Thank you.
for sharing your wisdom. Thank you.
תודה רבה, ריצ'ארד.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Richard. Thank you.
Thank you.
תודה רבה.
תודה רבה, ריצ'ארד.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. תודה רבה.
You guys are so sweet.
Thank you.
Have you learned the art of lingering, Judy? Yeah. Have you been sharing this?
Well, that's what we're doing now, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm not stopping the recording.
You have to linger.
To linger זה כאילו, להישאר באיזשהו...
שהייה.
Shaya.
שהייה.
איך הוא ידע?
הוא שמע.
הוא הקשיב לך.
שהייה.
You know any Hebrew?
Not really.
Well, now you know Toda Rabba, which is thank you, and Shia, which is kind of lingering.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna head off. But sending my love and my blessings to all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care. Thanks, Maya. Yeah, thanks, Amit. And thank you, Judy. You know,
My pleasure. Thank you.
yeah.
Lovely
If you ever
to
want to
meet
have a chat, Judy, just send me an email.